Hello YTPC, Ethan, Parsimonious Piper here. Today I'm going to be responding to Chad Yardism's 4-4 challenge, second verse. But first, in a Briarly bent billiard, now I told you I rotate through my pipes directly, but I do also work through my non-pipe by Lee pipes. This was the next one on the Briarly rack. In this Briarly, I've got Old Joe Krantz, and that was next on the list. Good stuff. Nice and tangy. At least that's how it's hitting me today. So Chad asked us to answer 4 more questions, music related. Let's dive right in. Number 1. One song that blew me away the first time I heard it. Gotta tell you, my wife and I had gone to San Diego from Phoenix with my choir director at the time from church. I was the accompanist, and we went over there to preview choir music, get a chance to see what the new publications were for the coming year. But we also got to see some top-rate performers. One of those was Larnell Harris. And one of the songs that he sang right in the middle of his piece, and this is in a small venue, maybe a couple hundred people in a side room of a conference center, was the song I Want to Go. I got to tell you, my wife and I looked at each other at the end of that song. We both had tears just streaming down our faces. If you haven't heard it, well, maybe I should sing it sometime for the group. It has become sort of my testimony and theme song. Absolutely moving for me, and that one has stuck with me. That song really did blow me away the first time I heard it, and every time I sing it. Number 2. 2 albums that opened me up to a whole new world of music. Okay. Mitchell Cormier, or Cormier, and the Can't Hardly Play Boys, live at the Cajun Cabin. No, you've never heard of them. They were a house band, bar band in New Orleans. Fantastic stuff. I had heard Zydeco before, but wow, these guys and their enthusiasm for it, oh my goodness. Yeah, that sucked me in and opened me up to definitely a different style of music. The second one would be 1988's debut album from the a cappella gospel group Take 6. Just a moment. Okay, don't want to light. There we go. Now, I'd heard a cappella music before, but I'd never heard a cappella music with this kind of tight, unbelievable harmony. Take 6 was founded by, you know, you may have heard this, well, I guess he's had a little bit of success in the R&B world, a guy named Brian McKnight. Take 6 was founded by his older brother. Their debut album won 3 Grammys and a bunch of Dove Awards. It was a phenomenal album. Just track after track just sucked you right in. That opened me up to a cappella gospel. The Pentatonics owe a lot of what they do to groups like Take 6. They were pioneering in making it popular, getting it heard. Three Three bands that I associate with my youth. This one I didn't really have to think too much about. Styx, Kansas, Foreigner. Between me and my friends in the late 70s, we owned all of their albums, tapes, or 8-tracks. And listened to them. We'd sit in on rainy days and just listen to album after album. Of course, I mean, there were other bands thrown in, but those three would probably be the highlights for me. The one that took the most thought, 4 albums that turned me into a fan of a band's music. All right. This takes me back to those late 70s when we would sit and listen to our music, and one of my friends, his older brother, just had a ton of albums. I don't know where he got the money for them all, but wow, he had a ton. 1975, Kiss Alive. Okay, I'd never seen these guys before, and looking over this double album set, the album cover and the pictures, these guys were insane. The makeup, the 6-inch boots, I mean, just over the top. And the first side of the double album opens up with Deuce and then goes into Strutter, and oh my goodness, that sound, I just loved it. Honestly, a lot of the other tracks on those 2 albums, kind of forgettable. I guess Hotter Than Hell, I think, was on that same first side. I Wanna Rock and Roll All Night was, I think, on the B side of the second album. But that sound and the theatrics, oh yeah, I fell in love with them. So Kiss Alive would be the first one. 1977, Styx, Grand Illusion. Oh my goodness. Every single song on that album was a hit. It was just masterful songs. Grand Illusion, Fooling Yourself, Superstars. I mean, on and on. When my wife and I saw Styx in concert, I bet they played that whole album. But yeah, that was the one that captured my attention with Styx. Been a fan ever since. Third, 1980, AC/DC's Back in Black. Now, I'd heard some AC/DC from the 70s. But then, when we came back from Germany, it was 1981. My cousin Julie, who was always a little bit of a bad girl in high school, had this album, Back in Black. She said, you gotta hear it. You gotta hear it. This was the first album they recorded after Bon Scott died, with Brian Johnson as the lead vocalist. Now, I'd heard AC/DC before, but this album with Johnson on vocals, oh wow. I mean, he's just unbelievable. This was such an incredible album. I've got to read the whole track list for you because it's phenomenal. From beginning to end, Hell's Bells, Shoot to Thrill, What Do You Do for Money, Honey, Giving the Dog a Bone, Let Me Put My Love Into You, Back in Black, You Shook Me All Night Long, Have a Drink on Me, Shake a Leg, and Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution. Oh, wow. I mean, come on. I fell in love with AC/DC right then and there. The sound, the songs. I mean, like I said, every single one of those, a hit. You expect that from greatest hits albums, but you don't always get that from just a studio. The last one, I was a latecomer to these guys. You see, this album was from 1975. It was their second album, but it was also a game changer for them. See, I don't think I'd ever heard, before my sophomore year in high school, never heard of Rush. One of my buddies played Fly By Night. Oh, wow. Every single cut on Fly By Night is written in a slightly different style, mannerism, etc. And that was deliberate. They wanted to showcase their diversity. It was their first album with Neil Peart on drums, and in fact, he wrote the lyrics for all the tracks except for 2. This had cuts like Rivendell. Really? Rivendell. Bytor and the Snow Dog, which apparently were named after one of their producers' dogs, whose names were Biter and Snow Dog. But he turned it into this long ramble. It's an 8-minute cut. This long ramble that mixed in Greek and Norse mythology and just all kinds of stuff. The lyrics were fascinating, and except for the title cut, Fly By Night, you probably never heard any of those songs unless you're a Rush fan. I only got to see Rush once live, Power Windows tour back around 1990, 91, somewhere in that range. No, it would have been earlier. 87, 88, so anyway, late 80s. And they played a lot of cuts from Moving Pictures, 2112, Fly By Night. But Fly By Night, that was the album that got my attention, and it was the first time I'd heard them. It was like, just wow. I gotta admit, as much as I love a variety of music, there are a lot more that I could have added in some of these categories. There's just some really great stuff out there, but narrowing it down, that was not easy, Chad. Thanks for this opportunity. It's been fun. Been fun going back through memories. It's amazing how music opens up those floodgates, isn't it? So, with that, play something you like. Play something you haven't heard in a while. Enjoy your afternoon.